can't stop falling for you. 'Cause I can't stop falling for you.
Good morning, everyone. It was March 2019 in Orlando, Florida. We were lined up alphabetically on the stage waiting for the graduation procession to begin. Let me tell you, I looked, I had my hair in braids with a black and burgundy mix. I was wearing a nice cotton fitted dress that hugged me in the right places. And I had these shoes, these 4-inch black ankle strap shoes. Now, besides me trying to control my emotions and not crying and have my makeup run down my face, I had two main goals trying to walk across this stage. Number one, not collapsing, because this graduation cap and gown I had on was so hot. I felt like a grizzly bear cooking in an oven. And number two, not falling. Because while these shoes look cute, my ankles were like, girl, now you know, these shoes are just too high. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Carter. I am a finance leader, speaker, trainer, best-selling author, and my company, Appeal, empowers women of color to get over their mindset, their mastery, their money, and sometimes their mouth, let's be real, and allow them to grow using their voice, being visible, and being valued in their corporate workplace. Now, that day was the ceremonial hooding where I would walk across the stage and be officially called Dr. Elizabeth A. Carter for the first time. And while I waited for the line to move, I started thinking, how did I get here? And just as important, why am I here? Raise your virtual hand if you've ever collapsed, cried, or fallen trying to reach a goal God said was meant for you. That was me. And those current concerns today of just crying, falling, and collapsing were monumentally small compared to the tears, the bruises from the fears, false information, failures, and frustration I'm sure we all have gone through trying to reach our goals. And I believe many of us get knocked down and we can never get back up. So today, this morning, get your pens and papers ready. Today, I will share with you why I was standing on that stage today and how you can pave your way forward when you control what you can and persevere when you can't. Now, that graduation line moved about 6 inches, and I felt the sweat starting to run down my cheek. I quickly had my little blotter, patting my face, making sure I still looked. And then I started fanning myself. You know how we do that. And some of us who are a little bit older, we do that a little bit more often, because that gown was hot. And it took me back to a year, 1987, when I was interacting with a different gown, a hospital gown. It was not me in the gown, but my mother, who had been admitted for a stroke and then had a single artery bypass. As I looked down at her tired eyes, her lip now drooping on the right side, intravenous needles in her arms, my subconscious mind said to me, is this it? Do I now have to financially support the family? I was fighting back the cheers. My heart was beating so fast, I almost needed medical attention. I was only a sophomore in college, commuting to the local university. My brother was only a senior in high school. My 10-hour-a-week part-time job was not going to be able to pay a mortgage, utilities, and whatever other debts my mother had procured over the years. You see, she had always been struggling. She was divorced, dependent on alimony and child support, and had no degree. That trifecta puts a woman of color at a huge disadvantage. She couldn't get a great salary to pay the bills, so she used credit to pay the bills. The credit got high. Now the collectors are calling the house. Now she was able to recover from that stroke and come back home. But that medical emergency now added more bills, permanent medications, and even over time, the bank of broke locked their doors to us. And 3 years later, she had to let go of our most childhood cherished belonging, our home. I was only 24 that day, driving away from memories of friends, playing kickball, bike riding, boyfriends, coming home real late. And all of that embedded my deepest why of everything I do every day. I refuse to be financially dependent on anyone. I can control not living beyond my means. I know the value of knowledge and accumulate that through education, exposure, and experience so that if a hardship or disability occurs, I'm ready and I can handle it. Is there a gown in your life that shapes your why? It may be a graduation gown, evening gown, hospital gown, wedding gown, or a nightgown, AKA house coat, is what my grandmother called it. Whatever the gown is, control what you can and persevere when you can't. The graduation line moves a little bit more. And as I step forward, I feel my ankle getting a little woozy. And I try to do a little step to get back straight, making sure no one saw me kind of trip and almost fall. And I start laughing to myself about these shoes. And I drifted off again and thought about when I was a child. Did you play dress up and put on your mom's shoes, prancing around, talking about how you wanted to be an adult and do grown folks things? Yeah. They say the shoes make the man and woman. And ingrained in me from birth was being a lawyer. And as I got older, knowing that I wanted to be financially independent, being a lawyer sounded really good. But those lawyer shoes, they never fit. I couldn't write. I failed history, failed my pre-law classes in undergraduate. So after a while, I had to throw those lawyer shoes in the garbage. And I felt like I had failed my family. But control and perseverance is very different than being unrealistic and being insane. How often have you gotten that confused? So I've tried a new gig, corporate America. Now these shoes sort of fit, but I needed a shoehorn to put them on, AKA assimilate and not always be my true self. I played the corporate game, trying to climb that ladder, but I was working late, weekends, volunteering for everything to the point that my feet were so swollen, I couldn't get in my shoes. And in addition to that, my blood pressure, cholesterol, and weight were also swollen. And as I started to prepare in 2016, well, it was more like procrastinating, not really preparing, to leave my job, my boss called me into her office and let me know that I and 5 others were being laid off. So all I had done, killing myself for the company, working hard, doing all that I thought I could control, All I got was somebody else's shoe kicking me to the curb, and I wasn't ready. And I really thought I had persevered through the exclusions, the microaggressions, the racism. I guess I was wrong. But I did persevere through 15 months of being unemployed. What shoes are you in? Are they too big, too small, too tight, the wrong style, or fit just right? As you look for where you truly fit in this crazy world called life, remember, control what you can and persevere when you can't. Now, returning back to my graduation line, I'm smiling to myself and silently thanking all those who assisted me in the journey. The procession starts moving. I hand my doctoral hood to the dean. As she places it over my head, another one says, presenting Dr. Elizabeth A. Carter. I smile for the camera, no makeup smearing, and I hear my mother yell from the audience. I shake hands and exit the stage. I did not cry, collapse, or fall. Now, my story is not your story, but I am sure you each have symbols in your life that keep you motivated. Type in the chat, yes, if there is a person, place, or situation that does that for you. Born to lead, and you probably didn't even know it. Leadership is not about title or entitlement. God puts us in scenarios, and everything we do, whether we think so or not, is driven by Him. And when we persevere, we come out on the other side with wins, accomplishments, tangible and intangible trophies. Now, I know it's not easy. I would say for every situation we can control, there are twice as many we go through in that journey that we can't. Let me share with you how I paved the way in the last 10 years to be standing on that stage 2 years ago. Here's where you get your pens and papers out. I am an acronym beast. So PAVE, P-A-V-E, is an acronym. If you want, you can type PAVE in the chat, and I'll also be sharing with you some affirmations you can take with you. First is P, be proactive with your time and money. Time. Someone once said that she was passionately busy. That meant she was overworked and a procrastinator. And I get that because I have the same problem. I have so many projects going on, and I'm always a perfectionist and raising my hand for more because I think that there is something I should be doing that'll allow me to fill my shoes in the right way. I have to-do lists everywhere. I even now have a big board where I have what I have to get done today, tomorrow, this week, this month, and allocate based on the effort I need to put in that particular project. And I'm still working on that. The second piece is money. Change is an investment. Let me say that again. Change is an investment. When I decided to go for my PhD, I took out a loan for only the first year because I was not going to let this personal endeavor bankrupt me. So I shifted all my extracurricular expenses around and saved my tax return, saved my bonuses, stopped getting my nails done every day, did different things with my hair. But that allowed me to pay fully for the following semesters and pay off that first year loan. And in the midst of that, I was laid off, as I mentioned. So I had to even think about things differently a second time around how to make it all work. Here's your first affirmation. I will be proactive with my time and money. I'll say that again. I will be proactive with my time and my money. Number two, letter A, anticipate failure. It's hard because we're always thinking that we have to be positive, but failure comes from two areas. One, not being true to being proactive, and second, the uncertainty of others. And while I had great intentions of improving my time management, again, I know I was doing too much, and it showed up in one part of my dissertation process where I had 3 weeks to complete three major questions to really show my knowledge of my industry, discipline, and research. Oh, and man, I bombed that. Question one, I finished. Question two was only half done. Question three was blank. And I paid for that. It cost me 6 more months of my time and $10,000. And when I think about others and the uncertainty of what they'll do and say, and that's challenging because we have I'll say our crew who we think will always support us, applaud us, and tell us what we want to hear. But a lot of times, no is more common than yes. I had many no's working through my dissertation, no to several of the ideas I had, and I thought they were great, but I had to put myself in the other person's shoes. What were they thinking? How would they take what I was going to say? So your second affirmation is, I will anticipate possible failures of myself and others. I will anticipate possible failures of myself and others. The third one is the V. Value your why. Not that surface why you tell people, that deep rooted why. The story you kept tucked away and haven't shared. First of all, share that story. It will free you and someone else. My deep why is that story of my mother. And I did not want to be dependent, degreeless, discriminated against, or doubt my own value. And even as I sit here today, just Thursday, we had a slight medical emergency again. And fortunately, if I wasn't where I am today, mentally, physically, and financially, I don't know how I could have helped her. My gown and my shoes are my why. Here's your next affirmation. I will validate my why every day. I will validate my why every day. The fourth is E, expect. Expect to win. Hard work and perseverance does pay off. Keep pushing, learning, growing, and sometimes winning even means stepping aside or stepping out of something so that you are free to receive what was meant for you. There were so many projects, promotions that I didn't get that I was mad about. But when I think back, they were blessings. Rejection is a method of protection and creates the projection into your next. Let me say that again for you. Rejection is a method of protection and creates the projection into your next. Your last affirmation. I will expect to win with control and perseverance. I will expect to win with control and, perseverance. Perseverance. So to recap the four areas: one, be proactive. Two, anticipate failure. V, value your why. And E, expect to win. And again, you control what you can and persevere when you can't. I am so blessed to share with you this today. I would love to connect with you to discuss how I can help you strategize paving your future. I've got my Instagram handle EACAAPPEAL. I have it here above my head, and I'll type it in the chat. Whatever you do, take your gowns, shoes, or whatever symbols really support you and go in excellence. You were born to lead, and the key to success is that you control what you can and persevere when you can't. Thank you, Dr. Shamika, for this awesome platform. And all of you, have a wonderful day